Hi folks, this is a quick primer on the game of cricket. We're going to focus on the T20 version of the game, which is currently the most popular version. The intent of this video is to cover just the basics in about 10 to 15 minutes so that you can go watch a full game and make sense of it. So let's dive right in. So this is a picture of a cricket stadium, and this here is the cricket field. The cricket field is approximately circular in shape and measures about 450 to 500 feet in diameter. And this rope here demarcates the area of play, and it's called the boundary rope, or just the boundary. This is a schematic view of the field, and the most interesting area of the field is this area, which is called the cricket pitch, which is where most of the game happens, the most critical part of the game happens. Now let's take a closer look at what a cricket pitch looks like. So this is a picture of a cricket pitch, and these three sticks on either end of the pitch are called the stumps. And this person here who throws the ball is called the bowler. This person here who is trying to hit the ball is called a batsman. So is this one. This person is also a batsman, but this person is said to be at the striker's end, and this batsman is said to be at the non-striker's end. This is the umpire, and these are all the fielders. So the dimensions of a cricket pitch, the simplest and most important thing to understand is the distance between the stumps is 22 yards, and within the pitch that is the most critical area of play. And assuming the bowler is bowling from here, this line is called the bowling crease, and this line is called the batting crease. So typically the bowler bowls from behind the bowling crease, and the batsman bats from behind the batting crease. Okay. So those are the basics of the field and the cricket pitch. Now the cricketing gear. The most important part of the game is the cricket bat. So the cricket bat hasn't evolved a whole lot over the last couple of hundred years that the game has been played. It's made out of wood. It's made out of a tree called the willow tree. So in fact, people might use the term willow interchangeably with the cricket bat if you listen to some of the game commentary. The shape of the bat has also remained pretty much identical, though the bats are more compressed and heavier these days. But compared to how the bats in a game like baseball have evolved, the cricket bat has been pretty much the same traditional kind for all through the history of cricket. The cricket ball, on the other hand, has evolved quite a bit. This is the traditional red ball used in the longer version of the game, but over the last 20-30 years, the white ball is what's being used for the shorter version of the game, and it's evolved quite a bit. These are the stumps, and we will talk about the purpose of the stumps in subsequent slides. This has evolved quite a lot, but the basics of the game just require three sticks and these things on top called the bails. So there are three on either side, three stumps on either side of the pitch. And lastly, the other protective gear, things like the helmet, glove, and the leg pads. Let's dive into the basics of the game. 2 teams, 11 players each, 2 umpires. All the players bat, bowl, and field. What it means to field is to basically gather the ball that comes towards you. So the act of bowling is basically throwing the ball at the batsman, similar to pitching in baseball. And each throw is called a ball. Okay. So each team gets 1 turn, which is called an inning, to bat and score runs. What a run is, we will discuss in the next slide. At the beginning of the game, there's a coin toss, and the captain who wins the toss decides whether their team wants to bat first or bowl first. 6 balls, or basically the bowler throwing the ball 6 times, makes an over. 20 overs make an inning. Hence the version of the name of this version of the game is the T20 version. So an inning is 120 balls, 20 overs of 6 balls each. A bowler can bowl a maximum of 4 overs, and the bowler cannot bowl 2 consecutive overs. So this implies that a team needs to have a minimum of 5 players who can bowl. 5 times 4 is 20. The end of the cricket pitch from which the bowler bowls alternates every over. Let's say that the bowler bowls from the north end of the cricket pitch, and that's the first over. The next over will be bowled by a different bowler from the south end of the pitch, and this goes back and forth. Okay. So the team batting first is going to try to score as many runs as they can in their 20 overs, and the team batting second is going to try to score more in their inning of 20 overs to win the game. If they don't, they lose. So a batsman gets only 1 turn to bat. If he gets out, he loses his turn, and another batsman will step in to bat. So a batsman getting out is called a wicket. So a team loses a wicket if their batsman gets out. And the team's turn to bat ends, or basically the inning ends, if they lose 10 wickets, even if the 20 overs are not completed. So they're allocated 20 overs. If they lose 10 wickets before those 20 overs are bowled at them, their inning still ends. Okay. So that's the basic structure of the game. So how does a batsman get out? So there are a few ways. So a batsman typically is waiting at the batting crease, and the bowler comes in and bowls the ball at the batsman, and here are the ways the batsman could get out. The first is the ball hits the stumps. So the batsman may have entirely missed the ball, or the batsman may have hit it with his bat but not made clean contact, and the ball proceeds to hit the stumps. The batsman is out bowled. If the batsman hits the ball and the ball is caught by one of the fielders before the ball touches the ground, then the batsman is out caught. The next one is a little bit complicated. It's called LBW, for leg before wicket. What this means is that if the ball is on the trajectory to hit the stumps, but hits the batsman somewhere in his on his body before it hits the bat, then the batsman is said to be out leg before wicket. The intent here is that the batsman is illegally blocking the ball from hitting the stumps. Okay. If he had actually made contact with his bat, then he's not out. But if he did not make contact with his bat and Instead, he is blocking the ball from hitting the stumps with some part of his body, then he is out leg before wicket. The next one is run out. So the batsman will try to run to the crease at the other end of the pitch to score a run. Okay. And if the fielder can hit the stumps the batsman is running towards, then the batsman is run out if the stumps are broken before the batsman reaches the other end. Okay. So we'll understand this a little bit more in the next slide when we talk about how runs are scored. The fifth most common way of getting out is what's called stumped. So the batsman misses the ball, and the fielder behind the stumps, this person is called the wicketkeeper, gathers the ball and hits the stumps with the ball, with the batsman having both his feet outside of the batting crease. So he's not within the area he's supposed to be in, and the wicketkeeper gathers the ball and breaks the stumps. The batsman is out, stumped. There are other ways of getting out as well, but that's usually is not seen in a typical game. So we'll just stick to the basics of these 5 ways of a batsman getting out. Now, the most interesting and critical part of the game is scoring runs. So there are always 2 batsmen in the game. We saw in one of the slides, one of them is at the striker's end and the other one is at the non-striker's end. So the bowler bowls to the batsman at the striker's end. So when the ball is bowled, the batsman tries to score by hitting the ball with his bat. If the ball is hit hard enough to reach the boundary rope without touching the ground, meaning that it crosses the boundary rope in the air without ever having hit the ground, then the batsman gets 6 runs. If the ball touches the ground before it crosses the boundary rope, then the batsman gets 4 runs. The 2 batsmen can choose to run across to the opposite ends of the pitch. If they successfully reach the other end of the pitch before a fielder hits the stumps with the ball, the batsman who hit the ball gets 1 run. But as we saw in the previous slide, if the fielder manages to hit the stumps before the batsman has reached the opposite end of the pitch, then the batsman is out. But if both batsmen successfully cross over and reach the other end, then the batsman gets 1 run. The batsman can continue running, so they can keep crossing back and forth to the other end of the pitch, and each successful crossover without a fielder running them out fetches them a run. So potentially like a batsman could score 2, 3, sometimes even more runs, but usually like 1, 2 or 3 runs are scored. We are not going to dive into the other ways of getting runs, but in general, the same rules as above, meaning the ball crosses the rope or the batsman cross over to the other end, still applies to extras, but without hitting the bat. So if the ball didn't hit the bat, but still the ball rolled over the boundary rope, still the team gets 4 runs. So the difference between extras and what we saw before is the extra runs accrue to the team but not to the batsman. Runs accrue to the batsman only if the batsman hits the ball with his bat and proceeds to score those runs. So I think we are almost ready to go watch a game, but before that, a few key fielding positions that would help you make sense of the game. So there's the bowler. There's the batsman at the striker's end, and there's the non-striker, and there are the two sides of the field. So the batsman could be a right-handed batsman or a left-handed batsman. So if the batsman at the striker's end is a right-handed batsman, this half of the field is called the offside, and this half of the field is called the leg side. The reasons for it are not important. So the fielding positions are named somewhat based on which side of the field it's on. For example, this position is called the long off because it's all the way on the boundary ropes on the offside, whereas this one is called long on. So there are lots of fielding positions, not important. The most important one is this one here. This is the wicket keeper. He's the fielder standing right behind the stumps on the striker's end of the pitch. And the wicketkeeper is the only one who's allowed to have gloves on his hands, unlike baseball where every fielder gets to have a glove. So none of the other fielders other than the wicketkeeper gets to wear gloves. And I think with that, we should be ready to go watch a game. So that's it. So here are some games that I would suggest you go watch. All of them are the full game, not just highlights. Pretty good recording. The commentary is pretty awesome, so you should be able to understand the game a lot better just following through on the commentary and just connecting the dots with the basics that you've already learned. Of the three games, the first one is the most recent and a pretty darn good game to go watch. So happy watching. Thank you.